Any second.
Just introduce us, bring us back in, Mason.
Yep, we are back on live. Sorry about the technical difficulties there earlier, everybody. Couldn't hear Tristan, and Tristan exactly couldn't hear us. But now that we're back with no technical difficulties, what else you got for us, Cam?
I blame Texas for all this. Oklahoma, right. We don't have any problems.
Oh, y'all got a lot of problems.
Man. Yeah, just windy because Texas sucks.
Windy? You mean women?
All right. Well, so now that you can hear us and we've talked about the honey-do list, I guess we'll move on to the next question for the evening. So I'm kind of curious, and I've always wondered this, but for everybody that doesn't know, your dad is Shane England, driver of the Big Kahuna monster truck. Why Feld and Earthshaker, and why not run a team with your dad?
Pretty much plain and simple, money, man. I don't have enough money to fund my own, chassis and things like that. But I think it'd be really cool to run with Dad. I see teams like Rick and Eric and the Swansons, and I grew up right around them, watching them work together and go to shows with them with my dad and work on Dad's truck, and just watching that father-son, the rivalry race and things like that. And Dad and I have always talked about wanting to race each other because, I'd more than likely spank his ass. But we always have that, thing going on at the shop. And but, it would be a good run. It would always be fun. It's always competitive. And, you get to do criticism on the way to shows and things like that. It would be awesome. But, the wallet's not big enough just yet.
Well, it'd be good if your dad could just get the truck across the finish line. I mean, that'd be step one to victory right there.
Man, he went through so many problems with the chassis that he had last year. And the best run that he had was probably in Denver when I went on the road and I had a broken ankle and I was helping him with the truck. And we ran into so many issues just in the last weekend. Not to mention the week before that, with a motor going down, last show at Colorado Springs in a little arena, and wheeling that thing out there, put a new motor in and tranny on the way to Santa Clara when we got snowed in the mountains in Colorado, and it was just a really crappy experience. But it was fun though because it was bonding, as if we didn't bond enough, yelling at each other on the radio and yelling at each other, throwing wrenches at each other. I mean, it's father-son thing, man. And we get along. We're like brothers, and it's just how it is. We have fun.
Well, if I remember right, I think Jimmy even rebuilt Dad's transmission right there after practice the first night in Denver.
Did.
Yeah, and I happened to be on tour with your dad last year, and I love him to death, and I felt so bad for him because, I mean, you can see he was giving everything he could, but the truck just wouldn't work with him. So how did you join in Feld? How did that come about?
I honestly don't quite know because I went, I did the couple of shows with him, and of course I was not of age, to be back in the pits and helping out and things like that. But I did anyway, helping him do whatever he wanted me to do. And then, of course, working on it in the shop, late nights, early mornings, whatever. And I went to a show in Houston, I think it was 2013. It might have even been 14. And while I was helping Dad, there was a guy there, and I always kept my fire suit and helmet in his hauler. And a guy named Paul Adams, he had some legend cars, and they didn't have, slicks on them. They were for dirt for Monster Jam for the intermission show. And they asked if I wanted to give it a shot, and I was like, I mean, sure. So I guess you could say that was my first event with Monster Jam. I don't even know how old I was or anything, but I went out there and never drove the car before. I mean, it was just a slap shift. I mean, it was like a little, 650 motor or something CC, and had a clutch and everything, and I just got second. I didn't even never driven the car before or anything, and then I had happened to get a phone call and asked if I wanted to go to Paxton. I think it was 2015, and there is a funny story behind that too about going to Paxton because I went, I did my training and everything, and I was like, man, when are we coming back? That was awesome, and because I never actually got to drive one truck, so I was floored and go out there, and Tom actually made me hit the step up, like one of my first hits, and that was like a tailbone crusher. And I was not prepared for it, and I had like a loose R3 and everything. So, I mean, he really threw me through the ringer, and I know I could take a hit, but yeah, that really smarted. But we did that workshop where they all work out and all that stuff. So they actually handed me the Blue Thunder gear that year, and I mean, I was emotional about it. It was just a weird feeling, and with Dalton and everything like that, and I was just overwhelmed with it, and I was awful on the microphone. I couldn't speak a lick to anybody, and I would freeze up, and I was so redneck hick, and I still am, but I can still talk on the mic now, but I dang sure couldn't back then. But that was just a crazy feeling, and Tyler went out and burned it down, represented Blue Thunder name just as well as I would have, and now that crazy idiot's in a gravedigger, and I'm battling trying to kick his butt all the time, but man, he's good. And
oh yeah, he's definitely one of the best ones out there, especially these arenas. But you're no slouch. I mean, you won your tour last year, 2019. You were a tour champion, and talk about that. I mean, talk about these skills you guys, especially you arena guys, all seem to have like with 2-wheel skills and these stoppy moonwalks, whatever. I mean, how in the hell do you guys figure these out and make it look so simple?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Are we losing him again, Mason?
Can you hear us still fine? Are you still there?
I hear the birds chirping.
Yep.
See, look, tell me you need to find a tower and stand next to it, Texas. Jeez.
It's funny, when we tested all this yesterday for all three of us, we didn't have any issues with all this connection-wise.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear us?
Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello.
Huh.
What if I knock? Does that help if I knock on the screen?
No, I don't think so.
I didn't know.
We have his video, but no audio as of now.
Good Lord. See? If you're messaging him, asking to back out of the room, try coming.
Yeah.
Or would you rather I call him?
You can go ahead and call him if we need to. Hang on. Again, sorry guys. This is the second time this has happened. I think it's probably on the server side for StreamYard today. It's definitely a first for us. But we hope to get this all fixed and sorted out. If we're still struggling, we'll go ahead and move this episode a day over if we need to. Again, super sorry for all this air going on.
Okay, so just
your question there, Mente. We can
link and come back in.
We'll be back with you guys shortly here. Again, sorry for the difficulties. We're going to go ahead and try to work this out.
let's stay on here for a second. Somebody tried FaceTiming him, and so he'd hit the button to decline that, and that kicked a mute on him. So he's coming right back in. So let's give it a second before we jump off here. I don't want to keep bouncing. People keep thinking we're on and off, and we'll try it and get through this. Why don't we? As soon as he comes back in, Mason, why don't we go straight to comments so we can try and get some comments in a little bit. And I know I'm sure people got stuff they want to say to him.
Yeah, we got a few comments. If you can hear us.
I can hear you.
There you go.
Okay,
all right.
Sweet.
Tell your wife
right.
to leave me alone.
Nice.
All right. Well, now that we got all that out of the way, at least, we have a question from William Carroll Arnold, and his question to you today is: if you were to run your own truck, would you? What? If you were to run your own truck, do you have a name and body name picked out?
Oh yeah, I'm not telling anybody that idea just in case it ever happens. It's definitely going to be an old school look. That's all I can tell you. I mean, I don't really like the new body styles or anything like that. Earthshaker really grew on me. I thought it was ugly the first time I saw it, and when Brandon Fearsdorf, which was my crew chief for 3 years, when we put that truck together a couple of times, because I really messed up the body a lot the first season that I was, the pilot of it. But putting that truck together, I mean, it really grew on me. I love that truck, but I wouldn't do anything 3D. I would do something classic, and just burn it to the ground.
I see you in like a Vega. I see you in like a 78 Vega. I see that fitting you perfect.
What about like a Honda Odyssey?
Something like that, Pacer.
Yeah.
Tim Mente saying his favorite would be a Zamboni Drive.
Yeah.
All right, we have another one from Brian Anger, and his question is: if you had a chance to drive any truck of your choice, past or present, which one would you choose and why?
Ooh, I love this question.
It's a hard question to answer, honestly. I mean, I have two answers.
I was gonna say, let's break it up if you have to.
Well, I never experienced how rough everyone that pioneered the sport had it. No Hans device, just neck harnesses and things like that, which I would want to try it out. I mean, I don't necessarily care what chassis, just like leaf springs or something. And I want to give it a shot and see how rough it was, because, I mean, I don't know how any of these guys walk. They're idiots. And, I mean, so are we, but I just don't know how they do it, because I've landed straight on the roof of the Earthshaker, and that stuff hurts. That's no suspension. So,
well, it's funny you say that. We actually had Adam Anderson on last week, and he was talking about that. And he was actually saying that it wasn't that bad back in, because they would always land on the cars, and the cars were the suspension. So it actually wasn't as bad as it is now with you guys jumping these trucks 30 and 40 feet in the air.
But if you're good like Adam, you can always land on the cars. But if you just flat land, it's going to suck.
Yeah, that's when the shit goes bad.
All right. Going back talking about Earthshaker for a bit here. The question for you, actually, while I'll let a few more people bring in some of their comments. We have a few Earthshaker drivers. I mean, you seem to be the lead Earthshaker driver, but you think that any of your other teammates might be better than you in any way?
It sucks that Peter Nyman, that he only gets to do the shows over there overseas, and it's only like a handful of shows. I've watched the guy drive, and he burns it down, and I mean, I don't see a lot of other shows that he does, but I mean, that guy can drive. There's no doubt about it. And then you can't even get me started on Stephen Thompson, because that guy's amazing, and he's got a lead foot, and he's an amazing racer, and he can definitely burn down freestyle, because I've watched it many, many times. But those guys are crazy, and I'm not saying anybody's better than anybody, but I am good at moonwalks. That's all I got.
What do you got to say about that, Steve?
What do you got to say about that, Steve Thompson?
I didn't hear a thing, honestly. I have no audio right now. I can hear you, and that's about it.
All right. Well, basically, Tristan was just telling us that he's the lead Earthshaker guy and that you're a good fill-in when it's time and nobody else is watching.
Okay, that's word for word.
He might be a good lead guy, but I'm pretty sure I'm the one that's on the TV shows and all the stadiums. But, it's all good, though, man. I like watching Tristan run, and, he's good with those nose wheelies and the two-wheel skill, but, hey, it's anyone's ball game anymore.
I'm lying to you if you couldn't hear him. He actually had nothing to say but amazing things about you and how amazing of a driver you are. But this is kind of cool to have the two Earthshaker guys on at the same time. We decided to play a little joke on Tristan and just bring Steve in without him knowing about it.
Oh, good, man.
But it's a shame you can't hear me. But let's talk about that. I mean, so both you guys come from different backgrounds. Steve, you normally have your own hurricane force. How do the people take to the Earthshaker? I mean, kind of a big dump truck, goofy kind of looking truck a little bit. I mean, how do the fans like that truck?
Oh, people love it. Everywhere we go, the different cities, man, everyone somewhere loves that truck. They relate to it. A lot of guys drive dump trucks or family members, whatever it may be. You hear a lot of Tonka truck. That's a giant Tonka truck. So it's pretty cool. I mean, we're still known as the Hurricane Force driver, but we got big shoes to fill with the Earthshaker, and it's pretty cool. Like I said, I mean, everywhere you go, people love it.
What about you, Tristan? What kind of feedback do you get about the Earthshaker from people?
I mean, same thing. Same here. Everybody loves the dump truck. Kids love it. It's just a huge Tonka truck. I mean, and growing up, some of the first toys that they get is a Tonka truck. So, I mean, when you see that, a 12,000-pound monster truck that's a dump truck, I mean, people freak out and lose it. But, yeah, everybody's loved it. We finally, after this long, finally got T-shirts out right before coronavirus started. So that's cool. They are still available for youth sizes. But, yeah, that's it.
So we'll call it the T-shirts that are BC before COVID. So let's talk about. And I just completely brain farted what I was going to say.
That happens.
Wow.
You get to that old age, man. Things just slip.
Let me take another drink.
Swig one hard.
Okay, Mason, what do you got, bud? Wow.
Well, we go ahead and let Cam recuperate over there.
Jesus
Seeing how you two guys actually both have been in the Young Gun shootout, we've had Steve Thompson do it a few times, and then Tristan go on to actually do it once and then go on to win it. Go ahead and maybe explain your guys' Young Gun shootout like experiences between like the races, the environment, and then at least for Tristan, you winning it. How was that? I'll go ahead and start with Steve first.
I didn't hear nothing he said, to be truthful. I can't hear nothing.
Okay, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so my grand question I've come up with is you both have been in Young Guns. Tristan won it. So why don't you, Steve, first talk about what that experience was like being in Young Guns, and then Tristan, tell us about being in it and win it.
It was quite the honor to go do it. There's a lot of drivers that are very capable and qualified to do it, and be able to make one of those guys that actually go and run it. It's amazing. You got a lot of pressure on you. Obviously, if you win that, you're into the big show. We didn't have the best luck out there. We weren't quite the racer back then, I guess you can say. But it was awesome. It was a great experience, and if we do it again, we're going to win this. That's for sure. With this new truck, we got it dialed in. It's a good race truck. So I mean, it's like I said, it was quite the adventure. It was good learning, and it was fun. It was awesome.
All right, Tristan, what about you? And tell us about you being in a double down, showdown, and winning it, and how that was.
It was probably the most hilarious thing to ever happen. Like the practice, because you watch it for years. And we went to World Finals. I don't even know how long. Ever since Dad worked for Flame Motorsports there for a while as a crew guy, we would go all the time. And I'm like, I mean, you just go through the chicane and pedal to the metal. It's no big deal, and then make a turn. Bullshit. That's hard. Because I think it was like B.J. Johnson, and they had like high hopes for me right out of the gate, and like Cody Saucier and all them, they were like, "Oh, you'll be fine. You'll do great." And green light, go through the chicane, spun right out, first try. And I probably I pinballed through the chicane probably 3 times in practice, and I was like, man, should I give up or what? Like, and I had one decent time, and then you get the critics of it, and you get the host, and they're like, Cynthia Gautier is going to win it. She's the fastest out there, but if I was betting money, Tristan England's going to do it. And I'm like, I don't even know how to take that, and it was kind of strange, and my dad, he was like, man, just picture it as your dirt car or something when you had your dog in there, and my dog would sit in my lap, and I'd go up on this hill in the pasture, and I'd just make a J hook, like just a loop. He's like, just picture it like that. So I did that in qualifying and didn't do half bad. And Brandon Fearsdorf, my crew chief at the time, he's like, anything I do, he wants me to burn it down. And he doesn't care what it takes to work on the truck or anything like that. And we worked on the truck together, and it was an awesome year. We had good chemistry, and it was good teamwork. And I went out for qualifying and totally did awful. I don't even know what happened. I hit the K rail, and then I went out for the first round, and I didn't even know who I was going against. I told Brandon, I said, look, man, I don't care who we're driving against, who we're racing against. I don't care who's in the other stall. I said, we're just going to race our race, and it's just not going to matter. I said, don't tell me any times. I said, when I come back to the pits, do your thing, cool this sucker off. I'll tell you if something's wrong with it. And that's what we did, and kept going rounds and rounds and rounds, and I was singing to him on the mic, Brandon. We were singing back and forth to each other, and just being kids. And then we heard the "We Will Rock You," and I was like, "Man, that's a great song." And so I just came over the radio, not knowing that was even the finals or anything. And Eric ended up pinballing. It was just a weird deal, and I had no idea that he did that because I didn't see going down the right lane. And I crossed the finish line. I was like, dang, I guess whoever was there already beat me. They're gone. So I just exited the stadium, and then Brandon comes over the radio. Where the hell are you going? Get back on the track. You won. And I'm like, won what? And he's like, you won the whole thing. And I'm like, what? So I was like, well, this tranny's pretty toast. So I just said, screw it, coming back in the stadium. 1-2'd it coming back in, and parked it up there on the pod, and they came out and did their donuts with their fireworks on the back or whatever. And Dad was the first person out there. I mean, as soon as the trucks got shut off, he was the first person out there. And that's honestly the best moment of my career was him being right there. It was crazy emotional, and it just shows how close we were and how close racing brought us. And that was the best moment of my career, probably.
Well, that's cool. Steve, you ever had any moment like that with Tim Mente? You guys ever hugged on the track?
Yeah, absolutely. We never won the big event, but we've come really close multiple times and was second place and whatnot in freestyles. And he's a good dude, and if you kick some ass out there, he'll come out and give you a big hug. Awesome job, dude. And but at the same time, he's the one that reaches in the cab and pats you on the chest, said, "This is all you." Then you go out there and break a bunch of stuff up, and you kind of get yelled at. But yeah, it's a double-edged sword, but it's all fun and games. We get the truck back together for the next weekend, and do it all over, you know. So he's a great dude to work for. He gives us some great equipment to go break up, and you know, you couldn't ask for much more than that.
Does he at least pull his pants up before you hug?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like here, put the zip tie on at least. You know, make them snug. You know, but but
Not hugging a man with his ass crack hanging out, just not doing it.
yeah. But you know, it's all good. You know, it's fun. Like I said, man, you can't make fun of yourself. Who can you make fun of? You know.
Everybody else. What do you got for comments up there, Mr. Mason? Anybody chiming in?
Yep, we got a few more actually right now. One from Dusty Royer, and his question is: any goals in mind behind the wheel when things get back to normal? For both of you guys. So go ahead and let Tristan go first, and then you go ahead and go after Steve.
Well, I guess I'm not going to take it as easy as I did this year. You know, I had other things in mind and future, you know, stuff like that. But I can promise you, if Brandon Vincent and I are at an event together, I'm going to burn him to the ground and bury him in his grave, because I can't take that any longer. That's annoying.
Oh, all right. Gauntlet thrown. Steve, you going to bury anybody or?
What? I didn't even hear the response. I have, like I said, I have no audio other than you.
Oh, sorry. So one of our fans commented in and asked what your goals were when we get back up and running, and Tristan is going to bury Brandon Vincent. So.
Oh, man. Nice. You know, I just really hope to get it back in the truck here shortly. You know, other than that, man, we'll go have some fun, make some money, make some fans. And, I don't have really no big goals other than I want to win a couple freestyles, at least in a stadium. Like I said, we've been really close and just never been, able to get that win. And, man, that'd be awesome. It'd be incredible. That's for sure.
All right. Well, Steve, dude, I appreciate you coming on, kind of sneaking on and bum rushing Tristan a little bit. We're having some technical difficulties, but I definitely want to have you back on for your own here in a couple of weeks and see who we can get to bum rush you. But I appreciate you joining us, but we're going to let you go since we're having technical difficulties and kick you out of here. But we will definitely have you back. But thank you very much.
Yep. Thanks for having me, Tristan, man. Good luck. Kick some ass. Bury Brandon out there. Have some fun. Thank you, guys.
Take care of that kid.
Right. All right. Now that we're back, we actually have a question from Cody Saucier to Tristan, and his question is, Tristan, you ever plan on using your visor in the future?
Potato, you can spell my name right for future reference. But yeah, I'll use it. I'll protect my eyebrows next time. I'm just a real big mouth breather, and no matter how much Dawn I put on my visor, it just fogs up. But thanks, Cody. Appreciate it. The sauce.
Okay, I have to interrupt here, but you just called Mason Potato?
No, Cody's nickname's Potato.
Oh, okay. All right. I got confused. Can I ask why?
I actually saw Mason on The Voice. Since we've been off on the coronavirus, my old lady's been making me watch The Voice.
That was Kid and Play.
That was Kid and Play?
Yeah, that wasn't Mason. Everybody confuses.
Wrong guy was close.
God dang
it. Yeah, everybody confuses.
Happens.
What else you got there, Cupcake?
Actually, it's a question I had at least prepared because I've had Tristan on at least our arena tour all this year. It's been great watching him fighting points between points from, you had, of course, Brandon Vincent, Tony Oaks, Barney Sauer. It was up there for a while. He was in first place, and it wasn't until a few weeks afterwards Brandon started taking away from it. But it was always head-to-head between those two guys. For you, what's like the hardest competition in an arena tour for you between racing, two-wheel, ATVs, and quads? Like, what's the one competition that you're like, dang, how am I gonna get through this one or beat this guy?
There's no doubt about it. It's always either between ATVs and speedsters, because ATVs, I'm a medium-sized dude. Like, I hate ramming into somebody to get them out of the way. But I mean, if you have to do it, you have to do it because it's racing. But you can't move Brandon Vincent, you can't move Tony Oates because they're like tanks on the ATV. Like you just can't move them. They're just bigger dudes. They take up more of the bike. I'm not saying anything's wrong with them or anything, but they just know how to ride.
They're fat.
But speedsters, I can't get it down at all. I mean, I would just go out there and kind of lollygag around, I guess you could say, and just see what happens. Because I know Austin and I, we had some really close races before, and shoot, I mean, it's just all fun and games when it comes to Austin and I, but everybody else, I mean, you probably have to, beat and bang a little bit and things like that. It's not that fun. It's about points, which I hate that. It's all about points, and I'm not the biggest fan on the fan judging either, but I mean, it is what it is.
Well, something I want to talk about with arenas, and this is actually what I was thinking earlier before had my little mini stroke during there for a second. But this year they introduced the mini backflip, the 8-pack backflip into the arenas. How nervous were you being in that small? I mean, it's not that small, but it's got to look small to the truck when you're sitting there and the stands aren't that far away and other trucks are right there. I mean, how was your approach to going and hitting? Because I've seen you land it and you nail it perfect, but talk about the first time you actually hit the backflip in an arena.
Well, if you really want to know how it went the first time, Carmack built the ramp wrong and didn't, stuff the dirt behind the tires, and it gave way, and I landed right on the roof, and that was a hard hit, but we got we were in Tampa, so we stole Yoho's chassis, the Crusader chassis, and hit it that night, and it was perfect. But I mean, it was just I was nervous to hit it again because the first time it was a total screw up, and I've backflipped before, but I did it off a container, so I was used to doing it off a container, and then here we are trying to do a mini flip or whatever they call them, and I mean it's a for real backflip. It's very fast and it's very abrupt, and you do have to hit it a certain way, or you're just gonna over rotate, under rotate, spin. It's kind of does whatever it wants, honestly. But I didn't hit a backflip until I want to say it was where was it, Mason? Winnipeg?
Yeah.
It was like 4 weeks in. I was like, I'm gonna let all these guys tear up their stuff, and I'm gonna be all right. I'm not gonna hit it till later, and we did it, and it didn't even matter.
Well, I mean, it like you said, it is abrupt. You got to hit. I mean, from what I see, it looks like you can't carry any momentum into it, and then once you get to it, you just kind of waylay it and hope for the best at that point.
Well, other tours had different ramps and things like that, but we just had the tires, and Radical Rob did an awesome job every week because, I mean, the very first time I hit it, I was like, hey, man, how you think that ramp looks? I think it looks, I don't know. What do you think? And he's like, I think it'll work. You just hit it how you normally would, and it'll be perfect. And he goes, or after I landed it, I walked up to him after I got out of the truck, and I was like, high five, man. It worked. It was perfect. He goes, honestly, I didn't think it would work. Good job.
Gotta love dirt guy confidence.
Oh, yeah. Love
it. Nathan just played off, Going back to a few more questions, though, we have one from a Dustin Spallone. So, Tristan, what is your beverage of choice during this Monster Cast session? And this goes for the rest of us as well.
Whew.
What do you drink?
What do I drink?
No, what are you drinking right now?
Oh, I hate what I'm drinking right now. It's Coors Light, but it's beer, so I'm not really mad. And I heard somebody pull up in the driveway, so that might be more Coors Light because she likes Coors Light.
Well, I'm sticking with the old traditional Captain and Coke and a solo cup.
I've got
Nice.
I've got 2 handles of Crown in there, and I might dip into them after this. So
Well,
Right.
I'm dipping into cups. I'm dipping into cup 2. I already finished cup 1, so now I'm on to cup 2. What are you drinking, Mason?
I'm about halfway down, but I'm drinking a mix of cream Dr. Pepper and some BSB. Tried it last time. It tasted really good, and I've been sticking with that for a while now. Ever since the Groth brothers were bragging about it at one of those podcasts we had with them about a week back, I'm like, I got to try this out, and it's been great.
I was actually about to say something about the Groth brothers because they love that stuff, and I mean it's always in their hauler, and
Yeah.
always BSB.
Now they've apparently hooked my partner on it because this is what he drinks now. And there's nothing manlier than sound like I'm drinking whiskey with cream Dr. Pepper.
Listen, I'm just trying different things out. I could go hard if I wanted to, but I'm trying to ease it into it. I just barely turned 21. Even when they brought it to Tacoma this year, I was like, I'll lay off right now. Play it safe. And then the second we left Tacoma, I'm like, man, I should have, tried to snag a little bit. But now being able to try, it's like, okay, I can kind of see what they're going on.
That's good because I've seen the video when you try to drink other stuff. It doesn't work out well.
Oh, not at all. No. It goes 0 to 100. Anyways, going back to the questions here. Let's see. One from Levi Shones, and his questions is favorite speedster race. Might have gone over that earlier with Austin Mitten, but do you have maybe a better one from like past seasons?
Not that I can really think of. I mean, they're all pretty horrible. I hate the speedsters, but I mean, I'll tell you this right now. If I could throw a factory razor seat in there and probably wear no Hans, I'd probably feel a lot better rolling it because I know I've done it before and it didn't hurt as bad as it does now. I don't know. It's just a weird feeling of how it rolls and how the ISP seat actually fits me in there compared to what it does in the truck. And it's uncomfortable. But favorite speedster race would probably be probably stupid races with Austin just all the time because we would either say we're doing 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive, or he would go 4-wheel drive, I'd go 2-wheel drive, or we do vice versa, and we'd actually do the right lines, and then we'd beat and bang on each other like the last turn pole or something like that, and it'd be entertaining, it'd be fun, and it's not like you really cared about the points anyway. It's just fun.
Right.
Have you ever thought about bringing your dad's diamond plate diesel side by side out and racing with it?
That thing goes probably 35, and he already got rid of that. He got a F350. I think it's 97 F350 single cab with a feeder on the back and a flatbed. So got that instead.
Oh, okay. That would have been interesting to see out on the track. We're trying to wind that baby up.
No, we went actually to, where was it? It was Tennessee, Drummond's, Tennessee, where Clay is, Milliken, and Nate Williamson. We went up there for Sugar Creek something, and Dad did a display and a couple runs and stuff like that. Well, in Tennessee they got moonshine, and I went out on Dad's side by side, and I totally tore out 2 axles on that sucker, and I had to order them right then and there, and they were at the house when we got back. But loading that sucker back up in the trailer after already being in this completely downslope parking area, it was the worst and the best week ever. It sucked to leave because we actually had to work,
Yep, had those weeks.
Yep.
Right. We have another question from a Mackenzie Ray. Question is, how about the time your Chevy truck broke down and your dad was driving a Ford? Is there a story behind that question?
I don't. This has to be when. Oh man, I don't even know. This had to be when like the big Mary King thing came out, possibly, and when my dad was like making fun of me, and we had to haul my drive shaft because I had LBZ Duramax, and when it was lowered, it had a couple, some programming stuff done to it, and turbo and tranny and stuff like that. Well, I had a weak drive shaft, and the sucker just wrapped up. So that was neat, being on the side of the road and having to get my dad to come get me. And of course, he's got to always make a joke about Chevy and Ford because he typically always leans towards a Ford, but he just bought a Square, so. I don't know. So, but he was definitely making fun of me and my drive shaft and hauling it in my mom's car, I think it was. He was with me when I went to go pick it up, and he just thought it was hilarious. So, or maybe it was when we were actually on the shoulder with the broken drive shaft. Now that I remember, it was a video. We were on the shoulder and we're going like 20 miles an hour. And he just kept making videos and making fun of me from the passenger seat. It didn't help at all.
Didn't make you feel any better.
No, but I mean, you look back now, and that's some of the funniest stuff you've ever seen. So,
That's good.
Kicking your son in the balls. Nothing makes a dad prouder, happier.
constantly.
I do it all the time.
Good. Anyways, going back to questions, we got one from Dusty Royer again. His question is favorite and least favorite memory at MGU.
Huh. I don't know. Probably my favorite memory was me. It was John Zimmer, Tony Oates, and I think it was Lindsey Reed and I. I was I don't even know if I'm supposed to be talking about this, but we went to a bar, and I think I was 18. And I mean, I wasn't drinking or nothing at the bar, but we had a good time and hanging out with John and watching John as I grew up. And I mean, yeah, I worked with these guys and stuff like that, but I mean, I grew up, idolizing these people. And Tom wouldn't come out or anything like that, but that, and then I was working on wind turbines one year, actually up close to Paxton, and I went with Tom in the Blaze, and we rode 30 miles. It might have been 20 miles to some tractor drags. And that was a really cool thing. I mean, I considered that MJU because I was in Paxton, but that was pretty cool. Worst memory was probably dealing with nose wheelies over and over because I'd already done them, and I was just doing them for shits and giggles. So that's pretty much what Tom had me doing, and I wasn't allowed to go for a certain amount of time because, of course, then we'd have to work. But that's probably my favorite and least favorite.
All right. Have one from Austin Mitten, and his question is to you, what is your son's favorite truck?
Earthshaker. So Austin decided to get my son a Megalodon hat and put it on him. Like, I guess it was while I was coming to the locker room or while we were in the locker room. I forgot. But, yeah, he had a freaking Megalodon hat on. Can you believe that? And his mother has put it in his room right up by his crib. Like, it's right there. And I'm like, what the hell is this? But as long as it came from Austin, that Megalodon, I'm probably cool with it.
Well,
I got some pretty embarrassing videos of Austin, so it's okay.
Well, I've got a story. If you talk about doing that to people, when Joey Sylvester drove Bad Habit on one of our chassis, and he was dating Cynthia before she was driving, we actually put her in the tunnel and put her in a Gravedigger shirt, hat, and pennants. And so whenever Joe would nose in to park, she would stand there and wave all her Gravedigger stuff right in front of him. And needless to say, Joe Sylvester was not happy.
Oh, I bet he wasn't. But Cynthia was standing in the tunnel saying, "I'm going to win."
Go, Gravedigger. Woo. Or something like that.
Yeah.
I want to have her on here so bad, but I can't find a translator.
No, it's hard to understand her. She kind of sounds like she got peanut butter on the roof of her mouth. But if you're around her for a couple of years, then you'll catch on. She was the very first time that I filled in when I drove that ugly orange El Toro truck. She was on my tour, and I didn't understand a lick of what she was talking about. And Cole had to kind of translate for me. And if Cole didn't want to translate, then you had to have Brianna Mahan translate. And two women's too much. All right, like every tour I've been on has been one chick, except for the year we had Cynthia and Kristen. But yeah, it's too many.
Well, you were making a lot of friends tonight, buddy.
That's all right.
I love the ladies on tour. I think they're great drivers and belong there.
Oh yeah, I think it's crazy how far that they've come so quickly. I mean, I have too. I mean, I was terrible when I started. I mean, I hit a wall for Christ's sake. But yeah, it's crazy what the sport's evolved into, and you can watch the girls and all their tricks, and they're getting it down. It'll be, as soon as we come back, they'll probably already be ready, brushed up on it, and ready to go kick our butts. But until then, I mean, we can talk trash.
You kid, I'm not saying a damn word. I ain't getting in trouble. That's all you, bud. This is.
Yep.
Hang on, Mason. Hang on, Mason.
What's up?
MonsterCast supports no inequality comments from Tristan, England. We do not support anything and believe everyone is equal. Thank you. All right, we're good. Did my disclaimer.
Okay, now that we're back. That's right. Anyways, we have a question from Mike Nugget, and his question is: how many more decades until the Cowboys win a Super Bowl?
Years and years and years.
Wow, that was kind of mean.
Hey, I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. My dad grew up in Arlington, and I don't care if they win or lose. I'm always a Cowboys fan. But
then me and you have to have a bet this season because the Niners play them, and I'm a diehard Niners fan. I got a Niners flag on the wall, so they play each other this year. I saw it on the schedule, so when that comes around, me and you are putting down a bet.
I'm game. I'm ready.
Okay.
All right, going back to a few more questions. We have one from Gabriel Lee, and he's wondering where he got that T-shirt because he needs it.
This T-shirt is on TexasHumor.com. Some Instagram, or it's Texas Humor on Instagram. You can go there too. But some page I followed, it's all Texan stuff. Some pretty cool things that I have all in my closet. That's pretty much all I wear now. But because my old lady lives in Oklahoma, so every time we have to make a trip to Oklahoma, I have to wear something that's Texan because it just pisses everybody off. Am I right, Cam?
Well, that's what we expect. We expect you to wear something from Texas because Lord knows nobody will figure out why you're doing here any other reason. You got to be lost.
You'll know why I'm there with the baby stroller and her with me. And
yeah. She made you come. Yeah, but what's worse is when you have to drag her back to Texas because she don't want to leave Oklahoma.
Yeah, I mean, she's still not home.
have a question from Nick Bulger. Sorry about that. This question to you is: any good behind-the-scene road stories and headbangs to you?
Ooh, man, I don't even know. Like, I could tell a funny story of I think it was 18, and Dad and I went on the road because it was after the finals, and I didn't have anything to do. I wasn't supposed to go to work on wind turbines for like 2 more months or something. So we took off after March because it was when World Finals was cool, and it was in Vegas and in March. And we went to North Carolina, and we were actually doing Cretan shows. And I think it was Cole Vennard and Jamie Garner, that Big Kahuna dude, and somebody else, 2 other people, I think. And somebody said that their announcer backed out. So I forgot what his name was, but he looked at me. It was Jimmy's guy. And he was like, do you want to host? Do you want to be on the mic? And I was like, not really. And then he was like, well, it's this much money. And I was like, hey, Dad, can you work on your truck in between events for one show? And he was like, oh, you're making money. Because if I help my dad out or anything, it's for the father-son love, and it's for working for beer or whiskey or something stupid like that. You just love to be a part of monster trucks, so it's whatever. So they let me do the deal, and I also had to DJ and had to run up and down, had to do interviews, like pre-show interviews like we do, and I'm sitting there like, why the heck do I have to do all this? Like, there's no point in this. But I ended up doing it all, and the funniest moment was there's 2 funny moments. It was right before freestyle. It got quiet, and then I said, let's get ready for Monster Jam freestyle, because it's engraved in my head. So then I'm like, oh my God. And I'm looking around, and I think Hope was there. And Hope, I could feel Hope shaking her head like, oh my God. And then when Cole like did some sky wheelie, and then the momentum of the rear tires threw the whole truck forward, and he slammed on the brakes into a stoppie. And I was like, oh my God. That's probably one of my funniest moments, because I was a total screw up, but I didn't really care, and I was just having fun with everybody and playing music that I liked, and I might have even played something different for the Bounty Hunter truck just to be that guy.
Believe me, I've announced many shows, and I've had quite a few with Cretan there, and I have never once played Pantera for him. I always did something different. So.
That's awesome.
What else you got?
Question from Corey Snyder. His question is: favorite Puerto Rico moment besides La Factoria?
Uh-oh.
Oh, man. La Factoria was the best. I mean, if the places that we could actually explore in Puerto Rico, they were kind of limited, but La Factoria was the best. But other than that was probably Senor Frogs. That was right across the street from a hotel. And, I mean, if Corey's watching, if I'm getting that right, please let me know. Because it was a wild week. I mean, getting there on a Wednesday and staying till Monday or Tuesday, I don't even remember. But international shows and, shows right outside of the States, they're just the best. And I got along with every single person there. I mean, I get along with everybody, so.
Well, the international stuff is cool. I mean, I've been fortunate enough, and not even just with Monster Jam, but I've done Canada and Mexico with Jim and my brother, But then I went down and I did Argentina with Tony Canedo. But then I got to go to Brazil with Monster Jam. Went and did Sao Paulo a couple years ago with Mente's team, and it's amazing. It's a different atmosphere. How crazy it is when you go to these other countries and how they are all about monster trucks.
Oh, definitely. My dad, even before monster trucks, he did he still does the offshore oil rigs, and he's a subsea consultant, and he's traveled the whole world and told me all about these places, and I'm like, there's no freaking way. And then you get there and you're like, wow, this place has its highs and it has its lows. So you got to be grateful for America, even though everybody's complaining about being stuck in quarantine and things like that. I'm enjoying it because I'm spending a lot of time with my son and my family, so I'm enjoying it.
I'm enjoying it. My wife is not. She is absolutely miserable because I'm here. She can't wait for things. Yeah, in fact, she sends a letter to Donald Trump every single day. Facebook messages him and Twitters him about, please, if nothing else, open monster trucks back up. Everything else can stay closed, but get him out of here. That's
funny because I heard pretty similar thing the other day. Like, I'm so ready for you to go back to work because, I like to just pester people. I like to bring the best out in them, but sometimes it's the worst. So, I'm a huge morning person too. Like, I love getting up and like being, energetic, and some people don't. So they want me to get out of the house.
That sounds like my house to a T. I'm up at 6 o'clock watching the sun come up. They're waking up in time to see the sun go down.
Yeah.
All right. As we go ahead and close it up, as we reach the hour mark, we have one more question from Joshua Yoho. And his question to you is, was C1 119 the best chassis you ever drove? And that was because of the Tampa backlift.
Yeah. No, it's not. Yoho, I'm sorry. It was a good chassis for what I needed it to do, and that was to get through like 4 weekends. So thank you. It did do the fastest right-handed donuts I've ever done in my life on dirt. I mean, concrete's fast regardless, but on dirt, that's one of the fastest, cyclones I've done right-handed. And the best chassis I've ever had was probably C81, and it's stuck in a container or at the shop, rotting away right now. I'm pretty sure it's at the shop and it's rotting away in the back. Got rust all over it because I haven't seen it in 3 years. So that was the best chassis. It was an in-house. It was built in Carolina, and it was built right. The new chassis are really slim for some people, like me, trying to wedge my butt up in there, but I'm still going to drive it.
Drive it like you stole it.
Absolutely.
Well, dude, I appreciate you coming on. It's been awesome. I apologize for the technical difficulties at the beginning, but we got through it. And
not at all. I had another beer. It's fine.
You're a hell of a driver. You do a great job, and we all can't wait to see you again. And hopefully, before too long, we get to see you at a show again and do all this over and over and start bitching about how many shows we do all the time and wish we had a break again.
I wish I had more, but I know you boys work your fingers to the bone, so I know y'all ain't complaining.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Well, thank you very much, and hope to see you soon. Telling you and the family stay safe.
Yes, sir. Y'all too. Thank you.
Thanks again, Mike Honcho. Hope to see you back again, and maybe even have you and your dad on for an episode sometime.
Oh, that sounds like a real treat right there.
That way you can spend an hour on the internet getting your balls kicked.
Sure. When he's right next to me or right down the road.
All right, we'll see you, buddy.
Thank you.
All right. Well, besides the technical difficulties, guys, thanks for bearing with us. It's been a fun episode as usual. Cam had a great time, and Again, before we go ahead and head off, I'd like to thank our sponsor again, Spur Hot Sauce, for the Florida-based hot sauce. And any last closing comments from you, Cam?
No, I just want to thank everybody for dealing with us. We apologize. This is the problem with going live and internet signals, and so we appreciate it. Don't forget this Sunday, like I said, we're celebrating Memorial Day with Tony Oakes, driver of Soldier of Fortune Black Ops. And then should I announce next week's guest already, Mason?
I say go ahead.
All right, so next Wednesday we're going to have Lucas Oil Crusader driver Lindsey Wink. That episode will be a little later to work with his schedule in the afternoon. It'll be in the evening a little later, but yeah, so Tony Oakes on Sunday and Lindsey Wink next Wednesday. So we will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
Gotcha.
Yeah!